Imagine standing on the threshold of a $10 million fortune, only to watch it vanish into the fog of London's bureaucracy. For Meghan Markle, this isn't just a financial setback, it's a public execution of her royal aspirations. As we speak, a leaked document from the Duchy of Cornwall has surfaced, a document the palace tried to bury under layers of confidentiality. This paper doesn't just talk about money. It proves a calculated move by King Charles and Prince William to permanently sever the Sussexes from the royal chest. But the real sting: Prince Harry was caught in a secret, late-night meeting at Clarence House, just 48 hours before the papers were signed. What was discussed in that room? Was it a plea for mercy, or the final betrayal that cost Meghan everything? The British monarchy thrives on two things: silence and inheritance. For years, the narrative was that Harry and Meghan wanted financial independence. But independence is a bitter pill when you realize it means being stripped of a legacy that was supposed to be your birthright. We are talking about the $10 million inheritance linked to the late Queen's private estate, a fund specifically earmarked for the future stability of the royal bloodline. However, the new stability clause added to the royal bylaws late last year has changed the game. It's a surgical strike. By redefining what a working royal means in the context of inheritance, the palace has effectively locked the vault. You can almost feel the tension radiating from Montecito. For someone like Meghan, who has built a brand on empowerment and status, being erased from a financial document is the ultimate insult to her pride. It's not just about the zeros in a bank account. It's about the validation of being royal. When the palace uses legal maneuvers to disqualify you, they aren't just saving money, they are stripping away your armor. The secret meeting between Harry and his father adds a layer of Shakespearean tragedy to the mix. Sources close to the king suggest that Harry was given an ultimatum: loyalty to the crown's financial rules or total exclusion. The fact that this document was finalized after that meeting proves that Harry either failed to negotiate or he accepted terms that left Meghan out in the cold. But why now? Why, after 2 years of Megxit, is the palace suddenly pulling the financial trigger? The answer lies in the fine print of the Sussex Exclusion Act, a term now whispered in the corridors of Buckingham Palace. This document reveals a pattern of returned benefits and frozen assets that paints a much darker picture than a simple family feud. It's a financial war, and Meghan just lost the first major battle. As we peel back the layers of this $10 million disaster, we have to ask, was Harry a victim of his father's cold strategy, or was he a silent architect of Meghan's financial downfall? The footage of Harry leaving Clarence House tells a story of a man who knows the bridge has finally burned. The shadow of the $10 million loss begins not in a lawyer's office, but behind the heavy oak doors of Clarence House. While Meghan remained in California, Prince Harry's sudden, unannounced flight to London was framed by the media as a son's concern for a recovering father, but the newly surfaced documents tell a far more transactional story. This was a midnight summit, a desperate attempt to salvage a financial future that was rapidly slipping away. Witnesses near the royal residence reported a tense atmosphere, described as cold and distinctly guarded, a far cry from a warm family reunion. This meeting was the final opportunity for Harry to argue against the implementation of the sovereign's new fiscal protocols designed to ensure that royal wealth remains exclusively within the hands of those who serve the institution. Inside that room, the power dynamic was unmistakable. A king defending the future of a 1,000-year-old monarchy and a prince fighting for a lifestyle he can no longer afford on his own. The document, which serves as a forensic record of these negotiations, indicates that King Charles presented his son with a choice that felt more like a verdict. It highlighted that the $10 million estate, once intended to provide a security net for Harry's family, was now contingent upon a level of transparency and loyalty that the Sussexes had already traded for Netflix deals and tell-all books. Charles did not just manage the optics. He attempted to control the very reality of Harry's financial standing. The tragedy lies in the silence that followed. When Harry emerged from that 45-minute meeting, he didn't look like a man who had secured a victory. He looked like a man who had just realized that his father, the king, had chosen the palace machine over his youngest son's demands. The hidden truth is that Meghan was reportedly waiting by the phone for a specific signal, a confirmation that the inheritance was safe. Instead, the silence from London was deafening. Every time the public asked basic questions about the Sussexes' future role, the palace simply pointed to the new, rigid rules of privacy and space. This wasn't just a routine family disagreement. It was a systemic reaching of a breaking point. The document proves that the decision to withhold the funds was not accidental or delayed. It was a deliberate move to protect the Crown's assets from being used to fuel a commercial brand that often operates in direct opposition to royal dignity. As Harry boarded his flight back to Los Angeles, the mask of the fairy tale prince had truly slipped, leaving behind a trail of cancelled schedules and broken promises. The question shifted from, when will they get the money, to, did Harry even tell Meghan the truth about what happened in that room? The true architectural blueprint of Meghan's financial downfall is a leaked legal brief now being called the Sussex Exclusion Act. This 84-page complaint, hidden within the Duchy of Cornwall's private archives, reveals a calculated pattern of institutional defense designed to protect the royal treasury from what insiders call industrial-scale brand exploitation. At the heart of this document is the newly minted Stability Clause, a surgical legal instrument that redefines royal inheritance not as a birthright, but as a performance-based asset. This clause essentially dictates that the $10 million estate, originally intended for Prince Harry's lineage, can only be accessed by those who maintain the dignity and transparency of the Crown. By failing to meet these rigid standards of public service, Meghan has effectively been locked out of the vault by a system that refuses to fund its own opposition. This wasn't transparency. It was truth dragged out at the last possible moment. The document proves that while the public was fed polished palace lines about family unity, a forensic audit was quietly being conducted into the Sussexes' commercial dealings. The palace noticed that the Sussex brand was treating royal prestige like a luxury costume department, using the title to secure lucrative deals while returning none of the expected duty or restraint. Just as a micro-stitch gun can be used to hide the wear on a couture dress, the Sussexes attempted to mask their commercial intent behind the veneer of philanthropy. However, the palace machine, much like Chanel's quality assurance labs, utilized a form of financial UV light to uncover the residual traces of self-interest embedded in their every move. The most damning revelation within this secret brief is the discovery of a single-purpose Meghan Markle brand entity registered in Delaware, which reportedly acted as a funding shell for personal luxury expenses. The document traces millions of dollars, categorized as strategic visibility operations, that were actually spent on paid media placements and celebrity gifting services. This double-dip maneuver, claiming charitable status while funding a private lifestyle, is what finally pushed King Charles to overrule his own court and demand no more hiding. The Crown doesn't just manage feelings, it manages perception, and the perception of a prince signing off on misclassified funds was a contagion the monarchy could not afford to catch. For Meghan, the discovery of this document is the ultimate mask-slipping moment. It shatters the narrative of the victimized duchess and replaces it with a cold, biological proof of intent to defraud the very system she claimed to humanize. She is no longer just a fashion rival to the Princess of Wales. She is now a legal liability facing a forensic audit that could rewrite her public legacy forever. Standing outside the gates of power with an inheritance claim that no longer scans, Meghan is witnessing the quiet, lethal efficiency of a 1,000-year-old institution that has decided to prioritize its survival over her ambition. The implementation of these new fiscal protocols has sent shockwaves far beyond the walls of Buckingham Palace, creating what fashion and legal insiders are calling the Markle Clause. This informal directive, born from the chaos of the $10 million inheritance dispute, has effectively blacklisted the Duchess of Sussex from the world's most prestigious luxury circles. Major fashion houses like Dior, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton have reportedly added her name to internal do not loan databases, fearing the reputational risk associated with her current legal and financial standing. It is a stunning collapse for a woman who was once considered a global-style icon, now finding herself denied entry to showrooms and excluded from the guest lists of events as significant as the Met Gala. The Markle clause isn't just about fashion. It is a test case for how modern institutions adapt to human vulnerability and institutional betrayal. While Meghan's image fractures under the weight of these exclusions, Princess Catherine continues to exemplify the soft authority that the crown now prizes. Catherine doesn't just wear refinement. She practices it through transparency and a quiet adherence to duty, a contrast that has become impossible for the public to ignore. This sharp bifurcation of their legacies proves that in the world of high power, your image is only as strong as the trust you cultivate with the institutions that govern global perception. Behind the scenes, the audit into the Archewell Foundation has intensified, uncovering what appears to be a pattern of strategic misclassification and luxury excess. Approximately $1 million marked for strategic visibility operations was allegedly diverted to boost commercial products rather than charitable causes. This forensic scrutiny has forced a total freeze on Archewell's operations, with the Foundation's website now displaying a stark notice that it is currently under review. For Meghan, this is the ultimate mask-slipping moment, where the polished narrative of a humanitarian is being replaced by the cold reality of a forensic investigation into potential federal financial misconduct. The most humiliating aspect of this crisis is the realization that the Crown will not offer a rescue. Prince William has reportedly issued a quiet directive to the royal household: no resources and no intervention. This isn't a family squabble. It is a strategic realignment to ensure the monarchy remains future-proof against the financial contagion of the Sussex brand. As Meghan stands outside the flagship of power, she is learning a bitter lesson. The monarchy does not just manage feelings, it manages survival, and it has decided that she is a risk it can no longer afford to take. While the inheritance battle rages, a second wave of fallout is quietly building beneath the surface, threatening a much more destructive outcome: the potential revocation of Prince Harry's United States visa. The forensic audit into Archewell's finances has opened a door that many in the Sussex camp hoped would remain closed, exposing Prince Harry to a high-stakes compliance review. As a foreign national holding an O1 visa, a category reserved for individuals with extraordinary ability, Harry is subject to strict stipulations that mandate a clean record, free from financial fraud or the misuse of charitable structures. On the 14th of January 2026, multiple immigration watchdog groups filed formal inquiries with United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, requesting an urgent review of his eligibility. The core of the danger lies in the financial connection between the inheritance dispute and the Sussex's American tax filings. Legal experts argue that if Harry signed off on misclassified expenses or failed to disclose business income derived from returned luxury goods, his visa status becomes immediately subject to revocation under Section 212(6)(c) of the Immigration and Nationality Act. This isn't just a technical violation. It is a matter of federal financial misconduct that the IRS and immigration authorities do not overlook, regardless of a person's royal title. Leaked filings show that several high-value refunds were processed back to accounts under Harry's legal name, raising a trifecta of red flags regarding intent and shared liability. If investigators determine that these funds were improperly used, or that the Archewell Foundation acted as a funding shell for personal excess, the consequences would be swift. Under current policy, a visa revocation would legally require Prince Harry to exit the United States within 60 days. This would lead to a modern-day exile, not orchestrated by the palace, but by federal policy. While Meghan scrambles for legal protection in California, Harry finds himself at risk of becoming a stateless casualty of a failed commercial empire. In London, the reaction is a mixture of concern and cold distance. Prince William has reportedly reaffirmed a non-intervention stance, ensuring that no royal legal resources or diplomatic pressure will be extended to rescue the couple from their self-made crisis. This strategic silence from King Charles and Prince William reinforces the boundary that William has drawn in stone: Institutional integrity must override familial emotion. As the legal storm clouds gather over Montecito, the Sussexes are discovering that without the protection of the crown, they are subject to the same unforgiving rules as everyone else. As the forensic audit into the Sussexes' financial empire deepens, a staggering $11 million discrepancy has emerged, sending a seismic shock through the Montecito headquarters. On the 13th of January 2026, the California Attorney General's office officially flagged the Archewell Foundation as delinquent in the state's registry of charitable organizations. This wasn't a matter of sloppy paperwork. It was a technical violation that opened the door to a full-scale investigation into potential embezzlement and tax evasion. Forensic investigators from Bloomberg Tax have identified several red flags, including over $7 million categorized as public image enhancement funds that were allegedly used to market Meghan's personal product lines rather than charitable campaigns. The audit reveals a pattern of strategic misclassification that paints a much darker picture than a simple administrative error. Approximately $1.1 million marked under strategic visibility operations was reportedly spent on paid media placements and social media boosting to enhance commercial visibility for the Sussex brand. Furthermore, more than $400,000 in private travel and event expenses, including the use of private aviation, appeared to serve non-charitable purposes. The most explosive revelation is a $3.4 million transfer from Archewell's media arm into a Delaware-registered LLC connected to a single-purpose Meghan Markle brand entity. Auditors suggest this recipient was later linked to luxury packaging materials and celebrity gifting services for commercial product launches. This lack of a firewall between Meghan's personal brand and Archewell's resources has led investigators to classify the foundation as a funding shell. If the IRS determines that Meghan and Harry personally benefited from these M-classified funds, it qualifies as self-dealing, a serious federal offense. The document proves that the Crown was right to be wary. The perception of a prince signing off on such financial maneuvers is a contagion the monarchy could not afford. In London, the response to these findings has been one of quiet, lethal efficiency. Prince William has reportedly issued a directive to ensure the monarchy remains future-proof against this financial fallout. There will be no royal legal support and no intervention from the palace. As the audit progresses, the prospect of forced dissolution of the foundation within 60 days looms large. For Meghan and Harry, this isn't just a loss of money. It's the collapse of the humanitarian narrative they fought so hard to build, leaving them exposed to a reality where their royal titles offer no protection from the law. The seismic fallout from the $10 million loss has manifested in a way that directly threatens Meghan's primary source of power, her global image. As of mid-January 2026, a second wave of consequences has quietly built beneath the surface, resulting in a stunning collapse of her standing within the luxury fashion world. Major fashion houses, including Dior, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton, have reportedly placed the Duchess on internal "do not dress" and "do not loan" lists. This collective shunning, informally dubbed the Markle Clause by industry insiders, requires any celebrity borrowing couture to place a full-value deposit in advance to prevent the wardrobing scandals that have plagued the Sussex brand. This blacklisting is not merely a matter of social exclusion. It is a direct response to the forensic evidence of brand deception revealed in the leaked royal documents. High-end stylists and invitations to prestigious events have dried up as the Chanel case changed the perception of her influence from gold to radioactive. Even the Met Gala, once seen as a potential stage for Meghan's redemption, is now reportedly out of reach after instructions were issued to avoid endorsing such a significant reputational risk. While Princess Catherine's image graces international covers as a template for future collections, Meghan is facing the quiet, lethal efficiency of a luxury market that values institutional integrity over commercial noise. The contrast between the two women has become impossible to ignore, both in fashion and in finance. Catherine is viewed as upholding a legacy, while Meghan is seen as attempting to monetize one This Markle clause serves as a cautionary tale about the misuse of status and the illusion of consequence-free privilege. As the royal household maintains an institutional distance, the fashion world has reached its own breaking point, choosing to align with the soft authority of the future queen, rather than the chaotic narrative of the Montecito residence. Standing outside a flagship of power that no longer welcomes her, Meghan is left with a smile that no longer works, and a public legacy that is being rewritten in real time. The monarchy under King William V is not retaliating. It is realigning, ensuring that the crown is protected from the financial contagion that has engulfed the Sussexes. This isn't just a wardrobe mix-up. It is a premeditated pattern of behavior that has finally met its match in the form of a 1,000-year-old institution that refuses to blink. As the legal and financial storm clouds gather over Montecito, the world is witnessing a great bifurcation of two royal legacies that once stood side by side. On one side, Princess Catherine has become the serene center of gravity for a monarchy in transition. While the Sussexes scramble to address unpaid invoices and revoked invitations, Catherine is busy crafting a new vision for the Crown One, defined by substance wrapped in style. On January 14, new footage showed Catherine personally welcoming a creative delegation from Chanel to discuss cultural legacy and mentorship. This wasn't about being styled. It was about storytelling and empowering the next generation of artisans. This contrast in conduct has led to a massive shift in global perception. Recent opinion polls released on January 15 show Catherine's favorability at an all-time high of 87%, while Meghan's ratings have plummeted to just 19%, the lowest since her departure in 2020. The public has begun to see the monarchy not just as a source of gossip, but as a test case for whether an ancient institution can adapt to human vulnerability while maintaining rigid discipline. Catherine represents the successful adaptation of soft power, while the Sussex brand is increasingly viewed as a commercial narrative fueled by ambition without accountability. Prince William has been instrumental in this strategic realignment, making it clear that the crown will no longer be a harmless fairy tale. He has personally overseen the House of Windsor's non-intervention policy, reinforcing that institutional integrity must override familial emotion in the face of financial scandal. By refusing to provide royal legal support or resources to Harry and Meghan, William is ensuring that the monarchy remains future-proof against what he perceives as a financial contagion. The message from London is loud and clear. The new House of Windsor values service before spectacle and responsibility before rank. While Meghan Markle faces a mounting legal battle and the threat of federal inquiries, Princess Catherine is co-chairing new international fellowships aimed at civic storytelling and diplomacy. One woman is preparing for court, while the other is preparing to lead the monarchy into a new era of transparency and public trust. This divergence is the final proof that in the game of royal legacies, true power is found in restraint, not in the pursuit of a $10 million inheritance. The financial crisis surrounding Meghan Markle is no longer a matter of private dispute, but a looming public trial that threatens to shatter the remaining pillars of her commercial empire. The first formal hearing in the landmark lawsuit has been scheduled for the 18th of March 2026 at the Stanley Mosque Courthouse in Los Angeles. This civil suit, currently valued at $8 million, could expand significantly if evidence of a coordinated fraud involving Archewell Productions is confirmed in court. For Meghan, this isn't just a battle over returned couture. It is a high-stakes legal reckoning that involves accusations of tax manipulation and brand deception on an industrial scale. Forensic evidence continues to mount as the hearing approaches, with investigators examining unreleased production footage that reportedly captures the Duchess discussing the intent to return luxury goods as unworn. This revelation has effectively recasted the lawsuit as a premeditated high-fashion grift rather than a simple retail misunderstanding. Furthermore, the IRS has escalated its inquiry into personal and corporate tax filings between 2024 and 2026, focusing on potential federal financial misconduct. If intent to deceive a registered charity is established, a grand jury subpoena could follow. placing both Harry and Meghan in a position of shared legal liability. The royal family's reaction to this impending trial has been a masterclass in strategic distance. King Charles and Prince William have made it clear that institutional integrity overrides familial emotion, and no royal legal support will be extended to the Sussexes. In a closed-door briefing, Prince William reportedly reaffirmed that Meghan is no longer part of the firm, and the crown must be protected from any financial contagion resulting from her legal troubles. This policy of non-intervention ensures that the monarchy remains future-proof, even as one of its most controversial figures faces a potential federal inquiry. As the March 18 date draws near, the cultural fatigue surrounding the Sussex brand has reached a tipping point, with American audiences showing a significant decrease in interest compared to previous years. While Princess Catherine is praised for her soft power and transparency, Meghan stands at risk of being defined by unpaid invoices and a mounting legal storm. The hearing will serve as the ultimate test of accountability, as the world watches to see if the illusion of consequence-free privilege can survive the cold reality of a courtroom. The $10 million inheritance that Meghan Markle lost is not just a figure on a balance sheet. It is the final, definitive marker of her exclusion from the future of the British monarchy. As we approach the end of this high-stakes legal and financial saga, the landscape has shifted irrevocably. The leaked documents from the Duchy of Cornwall, the forensic audits into the Arkewell Foundation, and the looming March 18 hearing have created a reality from which there is no return. For Meghan, the fairy tale has ended not with a happily ever after, but with a forensic report. The Crown has demonstrated that its survival depends on a cold, calculated adherence to duty, a standard that the Sussex brand, with its focus on commercial spectacle over institutional service, simply failed to meet. This total loss of legacy serves as a profound lesson in the nature of modern power. You cannot claim to dismantle an institution while simultaneously demanding it funds your lifestyle. The Stability Clause and the Markle Clause are now permanent fixtures in the royal legal arsenal, designed to ensure that never again will the Treasury be used to subsidize its own opposition. While Meghan faces the possibility of federal inquiries and a fractured public image, the monarchy under King William V has found its sovereign voice, one that is defined by clarity, restraint, and an unwavering commitment to public trust. This isn't about cruelty. It is about the quiet, lethal efficiency of a system that protects the crown at all costs. As Prince Harry stands on the edge of a potential visa crisis and a stateless future, the distance between London and Montecito has never felt greater. The secret meeting at Clarence House was the final bridge to be burned, leaving the Sussexes to navigate a world where their royal titles offer no immunity from the law or the judgment of the public. The bifurcated legacies of Catherine and Meghan prove that soft power is cultivated through humility and transparency, while the pursuit of ego-driven ambition leads only to litigation and exclusion. One woman is preparing to grace the halls of global diplomacy with grace, while the other is preparing to face a judge. In the end, the crown still knows how to shine, especially when it is polished by the grit of institutional discipline. The $10 million are gone, the invitations have dried up, and the lawsuits are just beginning. The new House of Windsor has chosen integrity over drama, and in doing so, it has secured its future for the next generation. As the world watches the fallout of this royal reckoning, the message is unmistakable. Rank may be inherited, but respect is earned, and once lost, it is a debt that even $10 million cannot repay. The masks have fallen, the documents are signed, and the silent dignity of the crown remains the only thing standing.